Hello, world. Hello, my friends around the world with the International Art Alliance. This is the Palimpsest project where we send our art pieces physically around the world in layers, literally doing what a palimpsest does is. Um, my name is Ross. I'm in Los Angeles, and we have Rose L. Williams in British Columbia, Lara Spedetto in the United Kingdom,
Hi.
Stephanie McLean in Toronto, Canada, Denise
Oh,
Bushman-Pilcher in Quebec, Canada, Cheryl Wilcox on the beautiful Gold Coast, I think it is.
Central Coast.
Central
The Gold
Coast. I keep
Coast
getting
is
that wrong.
above
I
us.
have a
Yeah.
picture of it and it's not the right one. Cheryl Wilcox in Australia. And today we're talking about how do we know when our piece is done, finished, complete. There are lots of different words to describe it, and maybe each one of those words also has a different feeling attached to it in our own work, and maybe even referentially in the work of our layers that we send to each other. Does anybody have a really strong feeling they know when their work is done and then they're just done? Any of you guys have that going on? Denise is like, yeah, I do. Laura does. Talk about that. Tell us, what
Sometimes.
is your secret to success?
No secret. It's just a feeling.
Feeling.
The feeling?
It's different when I'm working on an abstract, on the landscape or a portrait. Let's say the easiest is with the portrait is when I say to myself that when the eye of the portraiture is looking at me, so I know that it's finished. It's the eyes, and for the abstract is the feeling, what I feel here. If I feel that, yeah, it's done. And the same that like landscape. Landscape is my landscape are more abstract. They are not real, really. So when I feel that it's done, but the strongest feeling is with the portrait. Because sometimes you can see the portrait, it seems finished, but I feel that it's not finished. So I have to watch the eye and how they look. If I look at me, I look at another side. I have my daughter who doesn't let me free. Okay. So yeah, I feel, but I can feel it. I feel when it's finished. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, Lara, can I ask you a question?
Oh,
It's
go
a
ahead.
feeling. So, can I ask you a question, Lara? So, because I paint portraits as well, do you finish your portrait with the eye? Like, is that your last finishing piece? Your last finishing touch, or
Probably the last thing that I do in a portrait is the light in the eye.
the highlight? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And yes, I think probably I don't think about it. It's just something that happened. But
Right.
as you ask, probably I finish with the eye, because when I am watching the portrait complete, it has to be balanced. I have to feel, but many details of the portrait are not defined, so it's not. But the eye, yes, has to be
Interesting. Okay.
defined.
Oh.
I love that you're saying that when the eye looks back at you. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Denise, you were saying, yeah, you have a very strong sense too. How do you
it is
know?
a
What's going
feeling.
on?
And for me, I work I first complete the blacks and the whites, and then I add the colors, and I always have to step away from the piece. Ideally, like today, I finished the piece, I think, but I'm going to leave it be on the easel, and then I'm going to come back to it on Monday morning and look at it again, and then probably I will have to do some other thing, and then I know it's finished. There's always something. And I had this
Right.
very strongly actually when I worked on the previous layer, that I did a layer on the piece that Lara started. and I had this plan, and I did the thing that I had planned, and then I walked away, and then I looked at it the next morning, and I was like, no, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And that's just a gut feeling. It's not something that I can sort of bring into words, but it was just a gut feeling that said to me, no, this is not right yet. So I reworked everything, and then.
Well, I think it's interesting you chose the word happy to describe whatever it is the feeling is of settled, finished, complete. Because just for somebody who doesn't make art, it's like it's not like actually like happy, right? Necessarily.
No, it's actually
Satisfied.
Yeah, it is more that
Right?
the moment when it's not right, you feel in your gut that there's something sort of twisty, and you're like, it's like you're like, it just doesn't. I don't know. There's something wrong. You feel that there's something wrong, and you cannot pinpoint what it is.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I can't describe it.
Yeah, you're not at that balance and harmony level that Lara tells us we're trying to get to.
Yeah, good point.
We're trying to at least feel that sense of balance and harmony, knowing that we're sending it on to another person to work on, but we're hoping that it's holding its own in the balance and harmony department.
Right.
But Rose, what about in your own work? How do you have a sense of it being happy, settled, balanced, harmonious, feeling, not violated, not cringy?
I need to be able to have time to sit with artwork. Like I like to have it like in front of me when I'm eating lunch and like doing stuff, and just I have them on the walls around me. Like if I'm in my studio or even if I'm working at home, I just like to kind of have them, live with them. I call it percolate. There's something going on in the background that has to percolate. I don't know, people don't percolate their coffee anymore, but it used to be an old term back in the day before we had where you needed to let your coffee go through the filter and do a little bit of work before it actually turned into coffee. So it's like an intuitive process, I guess, but also I think it combines with our years of skill and experience. I think over time it's changed for me. And I used to need longer amounts of time to live with a piece before I knew if it was done or not. And now as I am older and I have more experience, I come to that sense a little bit sooner with pieces. But I still have to live with them, and I still have to have them kind of in the periphery where I'm not actually focusing on the painting. I'm doing other things. And then it's kind of like when I do that, I'll notice things that I don't notice about it when I'm focusing on it.
Yeah, that's
so it's
well
kind of
said,
like, I don't know. It is a process for me. It's not just like a brief, like when I was doing graphics, when you have a brief,
right?
You know when you're done because you hit what you think are all the points in the brief, and then you get your editor or your art director or the client, and they give you your feedback. You do the couple changes, and then boom, you're done. You don't want to spend any more time on it, and you know you've hit your brief. Whereas for us, our brief is kind of like the intention, but the intention is not just like, these are the elements of design I desire the other artists to use. It's more of a feeling thing. Like Lara said, it's more of a feeling sensation in your artistic third eye. That's how I do my own work, especially the botanical work, because once again, I'm kind of doing like jazz improv with a partner, which is Mother Nature. And she's kind of giving me some, like with this piece, like a whole bunch of it is like I just laid those like pieces of leaves and seed things on the canvas and hoped for the best. And then when I unroll it, then I'm given like those limitations that Cheryl was talking about, where you kind of give yourself limitations so that you kind of have given yourself a little bit of a brief. And for example, this piece, I'd never touched it after I unrolled it. I didn't feel the need to do anything to it because the plant pigments themselves and the shapes said their own story that I knew it was done.
Oh, that's interesting. Like everything that we say. But what I mean is the sense of completion, like it feels complete, right? I think, Denise, that's kind of what you were talking about. Is like, am I happy with it? Well, does it feel complete? And what is that about completion that, you know, we say I don't have to do any more with that particular thing is complete, even though we might even have more to say about that subject. Like Cheryl, you consistently work in, you know, within you had mentioned limitation, the same palette and environments, and you know, you clearly love, I mean, that's your thing, right? To love where you live and to bring all that part out. Now I forgot where I was going with this. I had a really good point there. I just talked too much.
No.
About being
Happens to all of us.
about being complete. Like you still have more to say about the subject, but you're complete with that piece. How do you know when you are complete with the piece?
I don't know, no idea. I suppose it just gets to a point where you, you get a feeling and you think that's enough, like that'll do. Yeah. And I always sort of think that every piece is just an extension anyway. So I'm only really making one artwork, and this is just one little bit of it.
Oh, wow. That's
a
tremendous context. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I've never heard that before either.
No.
Wow.
But that's cool. I guess with your lily ponds, right? It just, the pond keeps on growing and growing and growing.
Changing with the light.
Yeah, you just get another idea and you think, oh, okay, another painting, like another writer. So it's a little bit of an extension. I've also noticed too that I think that when I was younger, I would like my stuff a lot more. And now I find that time that I'm sort of really satisfied with it is getting less.
Really?
So, oh, wow, I'm really happy with that. And then sometimes that'll stay the next morning and other times it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's very recognizable.
What about you, Ross?
What'd you say, Stephanie?
What about you? When do you know?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think that's so interesting, Cheryl. You're talking about the older you get, you know, you're also not quite as ready to call the piece finished. Or, when I was a young artist, I think I was, that's it. And now it's like I have to. It's something like I have to. I'm reaching for different things more deeply inside myself, and so I think that's kind of where it's coming from. Where maybe I'm I just sit with things longer, by necessity. But I remember when Philip Guston, the famous American painter Philip Guston, who used really weird, fat, juicy kind of paint. I don't even know if it was juicy paint, it was just like really fat paint. And he had a big exhibition. I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was in Boston or New York. And it's all hung, and he was showing somebody around the gallery, and he said, "Oh, wait a minute." And he like pulled out something from his pocket, which was a tiny portable palette, and he used the same colors all the time. And he actually worked on the piece that was, you know, they were going to open it within an hour. And I thought, wow, that's really incredible. You know, that he's in flux with it even now.
Right. So I guess he didn't varnish it.
I don't think he did. I think he used a lot of other oil and material. So the thing also that I find now is that my work not conceptually, how do I phrase that? Like I have a lot less definition in my work. Like my value I don't like to work completely to black. I never really did, but now it's like I have more facility to get myself there, and like, when we were kids, we used to look at, here's how you draw a horse, and be like, 1 through 5, and it's like suddenly it goes to like the finished horse, but it's like, what happened between 4 and 5? It's this finished horse, right? And so and it's the same kind of thing with the paintings, right? It's like, here are the 12 steps, and when I look, or a portrait, and I look at the middle stage, I'm like, but that's what I'm going for. I'm not looking for this thing that's like it's all finished like that. I like it when it looks like it's number 6. And to me, there's something that feels very meaningful, and somehow I find it way more difficult to achieve than, here I'm using a lot of strong blacks, and here's my highlights, and I think maybe it has to do with my age, and maybe my eyesight, like Monet would paint more blurry things as he got older. I don't know. So, but it is a feeling. It's definitely a feeling. Have I said what I wanted to say to make both the piece and myself feel alive? I think that's the context for it. So it's not like really like I'm happy, although I can be. It's did it bring life into my world by having done, even if it's like a completely like, this is a completely struggled work about struggle, like that, but it's not happy. It could be horrific and devastating, and some kind of weird nightmarish thing, but nevertheless, does it spark life? Yeah. Stephanie, did you tell us about your
No. Hoping you wouldn't get to me. No. So for me, I think it's also a feeling, and it's also the eyes. But I sometimes do the eyes while I'm doing the rest of the painting anyway, just because I actually want that connection. But for me, I look at the values, as you said, Ross. I make sure that I'll take a black and white photo. I'll take a photo and convert it to black and white, and then compare it with my reference photo. Make sure that the values are very similar, right? Because that's kind of the way that you can tell. So values are very important to me. The eyes, and like any finishing touches, like splatters or some way to abstract a painting is what I like to do. I don't always do that. I sometimes will ask people. I won't lie. I'm in this school called Bold School for painting, and they have mentors there, and so I do ask the mentors sometimes, especially when I'm working on a commission. Just give me all your feedback. Be very critical with me, because it's fine. I don't mind. I just want to get it right for the client. So I do that too, especially for commissions. For my own stuff, sometimes not.
There is another thing that I do when a piece is finished. I look at it on the mirror.
Oh yeah.
Looking at a mirror, I can see if it's finished.
Yeah.
Probably
or upside down.
Yeah. Upside down with a portrait is difficult, but in the mirror you can see if there is something that it's
true.
If
there's a feature that's off or something.
Between you disconnect yourself.
There
is a funny anecdote. When a few years ago I was painting a painting was made by 2 canvas, and is a body put like in a fetal position. It's a female, and there was like mirroring one to each other. The bottom figure was the soul, all white with no hair, and the top is with the body.
Wow.
And while I was painting the top part, I could see that there was something, because it was the figure like this, like the it's called the baby posture. I don't know.
Yeah, you said a fetal position. You said it right. Yeah, fetal position.
Yeah, And there was something that it wasn't wrong. I couldn't see because I was working so much in this painting, and I could feel, but I couldn't see. At the end, through this method of the mirror, I could see that it was the feet, and I put this part of the feet. I don't know how to call
The toes? The toes?
instead of the.
Oh, you put a big toe instead of a big.
But I was working so much on the painting that I couldn't see. I could see only watching, seeing that.
And you could just feel it wasn't right.
Yeah. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes we could get too close to our work, right? And it's just like
because
step back and
so much. The mind gets blurred, and you can see at the point.
Yeah, seeing, feeling, right? It's not really just one or the other. It's really both of them. It's visual art after all.
Yeah. The see feeling.
See feeling. Yeah. Rose, when you're working on your with the material that you work with, these nature materials, and you don't know what's going to happen, so you're never really beginning with you're starting in a different place, but then I imagine you're finishing in a different place because you're starting in that different place, and you have to adjust, and you're your own. I love that you bring up this improvisation and the jazz kind of analogy, making music, because you're in like you say, you're in relationship with nature to do it. So you have, do you also then honor both the color palette and like I'm trying to fathom how you would get from, well, this really could use this really bright blue. This could really, this like almost a foreign element in that doesn't, I can't even make myself clear about this. I have a feeling about it. I'm like dancing around this question. Like how, sometimes we have to break it. I think that's what I heard Stephanie say. Sometimes I have to like break the thing. But like if you break the thing too much, you will not even deal with your material properly. I think Denise is probably like that too. You can break it, but you can't break it too much because there's a structure there that can't be broken. So then how do you know? It's like, then how do you get to a completion if you're like you can't really scrape things off? You can't really.
How do you know when you're done?
How do you know when you're done? It goes back to the question, I guess.
Well, for me, for me, it goes back to my early training. And when I went to art school originally, when I was a young lady, I was lucky enough to study under Janina and Mirko Jacobo, who were both from Europe. So they were kind of old master trained. He was from Bulgaria and she was from Poland. And they had actually met on an art scholarship in China back in the day. And he had won an Edvard Munch scholarship, and they went in Norway, and they ended up on the west coast of BC teaching in this obscure little school. And Mirko was very determined to teach us how to build a painting properly. So the fat to lean, the lean to fat, the underpainting, the what your canvas is made of, your gesso, what it's made of, how your gesso chemically bonds with oil paint or acrylic paint. He was really determined to teach us like basically old school techniques where they used to grind their own pigments and make their own. We used to go to Daniel Smith down across the border to get our printmaking supplies, and we're all thrilled about grinding our own ink and mixing the oil and starting absolutely from scratch. So that was my training. So when I developed the whole botanical printing as part of my process, it was kind of like a natural process for me because I was already a printmaker. I was already being very rigorous about my mixed media techniques so that I wouldn't have, acrylic falling off at the top of oils or things oxidizing under certain light or conditions, because I feel that artists, that's my product and I want it to have integrity. I want it to keep its integrity when it's not on my wall and I'm not in control of the conditions. So like one of the things I do differently is I don't varnish my paintings. I don't need to varnish my paintings because I've built them in a chemically rigorous way so that they're holding on and they're bonding to one another properly. So when I dip into the alchemy of working with pH and alkaline and acids, because that's what tannins and natural dyes are all about. So you can take a natural dye and add some lemon juice and have a whole new color. And it's fabulous and it's exciting. But there are some basic chemical givens just as chemistry. So that's what I work around. I go, okay, I know this chemistry and this chemistry when I mix copper and I mix a tannin and I mix iron, this is what's going to happen. And it has to hold its integrity, and I have to use gloves and wear a mask and behave like, you know, I'm being responsible mad scientist.
Responsible mad scientist.
And in the end, part of the way it comes together is because I'm relying on using the right chemistry. And the, like for Denise, the right layer after the right layer. Because if you put one layer on and then you mix it up, then you're going to have it all fall apart and crumble. Or when you put your varnish on, it's all going to shatter or some weird ghost or what have you. And part of becoming a professional artist, I believe, is experimenting with your materials enough to know what you're doing, to know what to expect of your materials once you're finished, and to know that's part of how you know you're done. For me, especially, that's a big part of how I know I'm done. For example, this piece, the way all the chemistry combined, I ended up with lovely color, and I didn't need to add or enhance it in any way. And the composition didn't demand anything else. So sometimes you just have to let the chemistry of what you're doing hold its own integrity for what I do and just speak for itself, because I'm trying to let Mother Nature's chemistry say something, have its voice.
Wonderful. So Denise, you too, you have this, I think Laura also, you guys have this rigorous, almost an academic type of European training. And Denise, your pieces are, like Rose is saying, they're structured and you have an idea in mind before you start. How do you, okay, so it's a little bit different kind of question then. So how do you keep your piece from dying to get to completion if you've already got it in mind of what it's going to look like at the end?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have to be careful, and it's actually something I'm like right now. I was just looking at this piece that I've been working on today, and I did something with it, and I sort of tried to be true to the coloring as it was in the photograph. But now I'm looking at it and I'm like, actually, I'd like to lighten it up, which means that the thing that I did with the coloring, I'm going to go over that again. But that means that I'm going to lose part of what I put there. And am I ready to do that? Am I ready to sacrifice that to get to where I feel the piece needs to go? And that's kind of what I'm contemplating right now. That's why I'm sort of distracted by it a little bit, because I did a little bit of it because the light, okay, this is a bunch of flowers and the light was hitting it, but only in a certain part. So I put the large part of the flower bush is sort of dark, and then there's only a little bit that is light. But actually I really like the part where it's really light, so I want to make everything light. But then I'm afraid that I'm going to lose the structure of the flower bush. So that's why I need to step away now, and I need to come back to it next week, because then I can have a little bit of distance. And if I still think that this is the case, then I am going to go in and I'm going to be really careful and try to not get carried away with this process, because for me, I'm going to go over this with another layer of acrylic, which means potentially I'm going to lose the structure of what is underneath, because that's what I do, right? I have this photograph, which is the base structure of the painting, and I'm covering that with paint. With like every inch of that is going to be covered with a layer of paint, so I risk like losing the structure of that. If I'm not careful, I might take away too much and I lose the structure of the photograph. So
Right.
it's
What a balancing act. And also you use the word sacrifice, which I think is really incredible. We do have to sacrifice something in the process of getting there. We try not to sacrifice too much in the process of getting there. If we sacrifice too much in the process of getting there, like it really hurts, right? Like just like the happy or the finished, or it's like, ow.
Yeah.
Different
well, and I
kinds of
cannot like do like Command Z to undo what I just did, right? Like I wish I could, but I can't. Like if I add paint to what I just did, that's gonna be it. That's like I have a little like a teeny tiny sliver of time where I can potentially like take it out with some water. But
acrylic,
that's gonna be difficult, because then I might mess up something else that's wet still next to it. So that's a whole other thing. It's a balancing act.
Wow, balancing act. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, Denise, did you get a box this week?
I did.
Oh.
I actually got it today.
Oh, how exciting.
It is.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah, let's see what I got. I'm excited to see what I got.
Okay, I gotta go now. No, just kidding.
Well, that's your loss. Well, actually, you already know what's in it, because you sent me this, so you don't need to be here.
I know, but no, everyone's gonna see it.
But the box actually still looks really, really good.
Master pack,
Master pack.
Great,
How many trips is it? Because this started in Australia, right?
Australia, the UK,
Whoa.
British Columbia, and then Toronto, and now Montreal.
Wow.
So there's only one layer. There's only one layer left after you, Denise.
Oh my gosh.
That's Ross, and the box is still impeccable.
No pressure at all.
And remember, the box actually travelled here to Australia also by
that's right.
Got here.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wow. Look at the corners of it. It's still.
It looks really great.
Amazing
There's much paper
integrity.
here.
It's so robust. Yeah, it's really good.
Ooh. That's exciting. Oh, I love this. This is awesome.
Ooh.
This is so cool. This is really cool. I love what you did, Steph. This is so
You do?
cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do.
There's some
It
things that
gives
I'd
it
like to
such
change, but too late now.
What?
I said there are some things that I'd like to change on it, but it's too late now. Anyway,
It makes it so whimsical.
I thought it was finished like 5 times, and I still didn't think it was finished.
It's so whimsical now. Look at this.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That's so
Good
fun.
on you.
I thought the whole concept of traveling, right? Cheryl, you wanted to for this painting to be basically the adventure, the exploration of life as an artist, and the exploration, I guess, of the world. And then Rose, you were talking about, well, Lara was talking about thoughts with the bubbles, and then Rose was talking about air coming in the window. So I thought, can I try to put all those together? So I thought, oh, propeller head, thinking cap, air, I don't know. And I had it in different colors. You'll see in the book, Denise, I had it like in like a deep red, a deep blue, a deep yellow, but the colors just weren't jiving for me. There was too much color, so I pared it down to more of a cool gray, whereas Cheryl, yours was more of a warm gray in the background. So to give it a bit of contrast.
Yeah. Look, I was just trying to make it really neutral with the greys. I was sort of hoping
I know,
that you'd
it's
add
great.
the color. Like I was just almost doing like an underpainting as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I wish I'd done more is the gradient between the shadow and the shadow and the sort of highlight on the gray there, because that's not supposed to be a different part.
Is there
No, the other way. So the other way.
Oh,
See where
the
there's a
other
light,
side.
and then yeah, right there, right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just it was
I kind
yeah,
of like it because
that's
it
what I would
really
change.
reflects like the like
Yeah.
how all the
The light.
yeah.
The light. Yeah, that's what I was going for, but I just wish I'd transitioned it a bit more. Anyway.
I think it's great.
It's cool.
I love it.
Okay,
So there's
good.
you, Denise, and then one more person.
Yeah, it's
Ross.
me
And Ross.
and Ross, I think.
Ross gets to finish this one.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about the hard part.
Oh no, my layer is gonna be easy. I'm not intimidating at all.
How about
Fabulous.
if the bubbles have a reflection of the scene in them or what's going on in the world around you?
Ooh.
Ooh, I'm just looking at those bubbles and oh, sorry, you're thinking thought bubbles. See, and I'm thinking, kids' soap bubbles, and you know how
Yeah,
they
no, I
reflect
think that's both.
like
I think that's both.
yeah,
They
like
weren't
a
really
glass
thought
bubble.
bubbles. They were more like intuition and stuff like that, right, Lara?
Yeah,
Right, Lara? Yeah.
but I was thinking about how about if they reflected your room or your studio? I don't know.
Oh, how cool is that?
It's such a cool.
Did you hear that, Ross and Denise?
Or the
I heard
Asaro,
it.
or the Asaro head itself. The Asaro head itself, right? If the Asaro head is in there everywhere.
I heard it. I'm not sure if that's
No
gonna
pressure,
happen.
guys.
I don't
It's
know.
fascinating.
It's a
Can't
really
wait to
cool
see what
piece.
you do, Denise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Neither
me
can
too.
I. I'm gonna need some time here, I think.
2 weeks.
Understandably.
I know.
Why don't you do lots of things?
Lots of things. No, I
Yeah,
have
think
some
about
ideas,
it like that. So
but
think the opposite. Do lots of things. You don't just
I
have
have
to do
some.
one. Do lots.
lots. I have
Yeah,
some
go on.
ideas, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't read anything yet, so
Who
Yeah.
cares? Just do it.
So stay tuned to see what happens, folks.
well, we'll see. I gotta.
I love the propeller.
Yeah,
The propeller beanie. It's so
it's
good.
really, really whimsical.
So
I love
fun. It changes it in a really
Oh, there's
like as if
even
it didn't have
a-
enough meaning layered into it. It makes it even more deeply meaningful.
There it is.
But if you look at the colored version, you'll see why I changed it. 'Cause it was just like, oh.
Oh yeah.
And even though they were unsaturated and deeper colors, it wasn't working.
I still like it though.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. It's even more playful with the colors.
Oh, really? Oh, well, too
Yeah.
late now.
He took away
I went
his
back
hair,
and
too.
forth.
He used
Can-
to
I
have
went back and
hair.
forth, but the colors weren't vibing. It wasn't the same palette. It wasn't.
But
Yeah, I
he
had
took
hair,
away
and then I
his
painted
hair.
over it.
Can you show
Yeah.
one of the
He
pieces
had
that
hair.
Stephanie?
Look.
That's so cute. The whole
I
thing.
kinda like
And then I
that.
painted. So I actually did redact. There we go. I redacted my own painting. I painted over it.
Wow.
Very cool. Oh, now I can see
Definitely
it.
an evolution, man.
That's why I took
Wow.
so long, Denise. Like this.
I get it.
Completely. Yeah.
This is going to
I
be
get it.
a one to title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll probably require one of those 12 word titles.
Well, if you want to paint color on the beanie, I don't care. Obviously, I don't care. Do whatever you want.
I don't know yet.
Whatever happens.
I'm gonna need some time, and I'm gonna need to read everything, and then I'll decide what to do.
Mm. Mm.
See,
Wow,
that's
how
what's so much fun.
exciting! How fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've concluded everything that we can conclude today. I feel happy and satisfied, and everything we talked about. How about you guys? You feel like
Yes.
we're complete with this program right now?
How's your
I
eyes?
think
The twinkle is the highlight in there.
Your eyes are talking to me. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll out there in the world. We'll see you next week for the International Art Alliance Palimpsest project, and all you, my friends, I'll see you next week too.
Yes.
Great.
Thanks,
Okay.
Ross.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye-bye.
Bye.